Let's talk about small rabbit breeds and unusually shaped rabbit breeds in general. Now I'm in the bedroom here where I have Miss Lydia and Eddie Mars. And here, I've got something for you, Eddie. This is from a lettuce mix. Come on, Miss Lydia, come on over here. Come on over here, Miss Lydia. Look what I got for you. Come on. Miss Lydia. Oh, Miss Lydia, where are you? There you are. Come on, Miss Lydia. Ooh, yummy stuff. Now, our smallest rabbit is Eddie Mars. He's a tiny mini Rex. And I found that with these tiny bunnies like this, you can overfeed them greens very quickly. They can't handle too many greens, at least in my experience with Eddie Mars. They can get a little bit of bloating and gas in their stomach, and then they stop eating. And he'll just lay down, stretch out, and not feel good. Well, that's a bad thing. And to bring him back, I need to give him a dose of meloxicam, and that brings him right around again. But giving him giant pieces of romaine lettuce seems to make him sick like that. So if you have a tiny rabbit, remember, they have a tiny little stomach. And they can't handle a lot of greens like a larger rabbit could handle. Now, Miss Lydia here, who's jumping away from me. Come on, Miss Lydia. Come on. Well, I'm just going to stick it through there. How's that? Come on over here, Miss Lydia. Miss Lydia, remember, she's our latest rabbit. We've had her for quite a few months now, but she's still a little skittish. Hey, Miss Lydia, look at Eddie. He's here. Eddie would keep eating and eating and eating. That's the thing. The more you give him, the more he'll eat of the greens, and he'll just keep eating the greens until he would get sick. So I'm just going to give him a little bit this morning, and about that much. That's it. He had about, I don't know, 8 or 9 pieces. Here comes Miss Lydia. Yeah, well, I gave you some. I put some in there. And remember, never give cabbage. Oh, she's going back. She's going back. Come on, Miss. I'm going to give you Mr. Mars. I'm going to give you Mr. Mars. Here's the dregs of this. There you go. Now, remember, no cabbage. Cabbage can really upset the stomachs of these tiny bunnies. A large bunny can take a tiny piece of the red cabbage that's in this mix without any problem. But in general, you want to avoid any vegetables that cause gas. Broccoli, tiny, tiny piece of broccoli for bigger bunnies. I would completely stay away from it. Eddie Mars, what are you doing? I would completely stay away from it for smaller bunnies. Look, you got your hay, and you had your pellets. He says, I gotta get some more of this stuff. But see, that's the problem. If you give him more, he'll just keep eating it and eating it and eating it until he gets sick. Because rabbits should have the hay. Right, Eddie? Eat mostly the hay. A little bit of pellets maybe a day. Right? And don't overdo it on the greens. And keep an eye on your bunny, because you can tell whether he's feeling good when you give him the hay or the food. They should start eating it pretty much immediately. If they don't, you put fresh hay in a box. It should interest the rabbits to give a fresh box of hay. And they should be in that box or near that box testing it out and seeing what they have there. And if they don't and they just sit, then you better check them carefully to make sure they are eating, because you only have, like I said, about 24 to 48 hours before that GI stasis can kill them. When their whole gut stops moving the food along and what's left in their gut starts to rot and forms gases. You know, Mother Nature has perfected each animal over tens of thousands of years or millions of years of evolution, and each animal has evolved into a perfect form for their environment. Now, if you throw in some weird deviations from that form and you start breeding them, you're going to end up with something that was never intended to be. And that's what happens with domesticated animals. The further you move away from the natural form of the animal, which was bred for survival of the fittest, the ones that stand out or the ones that have some abnormality are going to be weeded out. They're either not going to be able to take the rigors of life, or they're going to be picked off by predators. You can see this in birds. You know, we have parakeets that are different colors, blues, yellows, but you're not going to find any of those in nature. In nature, the parakeets, and I'm talking about the budgie birds, they're all green, because any bird that's not green is going to be picked off really quickly, and it's not going to be able to breed because a predator is going to pick them out of the flock. Okay, there's a reason they're all green. Okay, you have dachshunds that have the little legs. They were bred to go hunting into holes, and they have the long backs. Now in nature, that's not going to happen. And what do you end up with? If anyone has had dachshunds, you know that they have back problems. Okay, dogs with really floppy ears, they have problems with their ears and ear infections. In cats, you have pushed-in face cats that have the flattened face. In nature, that's not going to happen to a wild cat, because it ends up with the animal having sinus problems and eye problems. All right, so it happens in any breed. And when I see some of these breeds, like these skinny pigs, so-called skinny pigs that are practically bald, why would anybody want to breed an animal like that? The ones that were born like that, that was such an abnormality. Why would you want to keep breeding that? Well, because you can make money off of it. That's why. Because people are open, oh, look at that, that's something different. And then you end up with a lot of these skinny pigs turning up at the shelters. Goldfish, even the goldfish. If you know anything about goldfish, you've seen these breeds of goldfish, and they're mostly bred from Asia. And they've been around a long time, some of them. But some of them are so rotund, and their fins are so warped that they can hardly swim. If you've seen some of these goldfish just wiggling along, and they can hardly swim at all. I don't understand it myself, why humans have to have this love of different weird deviations, but I think it's just because it's something different that other people don't have. And you start breeding these animals, whatever kind of animal it is, and you don't care about what health problems you're creating, but you only care about that it's something different that people will pay money for. Now our Stevie is a good example of a plain New Zealand rabbit, except he has a crooked face. Now he was just born with this crooked face, and they said it wouldn't give him any problems, the veterinarian said. But let's just say that somebody had a rabbit born with a crooked face, and they said, oh, that's cute. Well, let's try to breed that crooked face into rabbits. So they had a rabbit with a crooked face, and they let that rabbit breed. And let's say it was some kind of a genetic thing that was passed down. So they take the babies that are born. They only take the ones that have crooked faces, and they breed those babies. Hello, sweetie. Here's his eyes all better on that side, huh? Yeah. Well, let's say they breed the babies that have crooked faces, and then they keep breeding through that line of stock. So the babies have crooked faces, so brother and sister are bred together, or maybe the daughter is bred to the father, right? And then after that, the grandbabies, they're bred to the other ones in the family that have a crooked face. And pretty soon you have a line of rabbits with crooked faces. Now this is how different breeds get started. A rabbit is born with some abnormality, or for any animal, and some breeder starts trying to keep that abnormality going. And when you have something like that, first of all, you're going to have animals that all came from the same group. And because they came from the same group, it's an inbred thing. The traits that they're keeping create animals that have an inbred background, and that makes them weaker. You know, in humans, you have inbreeding. You had inbreeding in the royalty, in Europe, who wouldn't marry anybody except another royal person. Now I'm talking about, hundreds of years ago. And you ended up with a lot of these people in the royal families that were just weirdos. They had really severe mental problems and other health problems because they were inbred people. Or you have this, down south, you have Deliverance, right? The movie Deliverance, where these backwoods people were just inbreeding and they get strange. Well, it's true. Okay, when you have animals that are inbred, you're going to have everything magnified. That's a bad problem. Every health trait that's bad is going to be magnified. And that's the problem. Now, Stevie here is just a normal New Zealand white. And he happened to be born with this crooked face. But that's just something that he has. He's not being bred. He's a neutered male. Don't breed your bunnies. And that's another point. I'm going to bring up another point. Don't breed your rabbits, please. Don't. And say, oh, but it's so cute. No, it is not cute, because go to the shelters and look at all the rabbits sitting and waiting for homes. Okay, Stevie says it's not cute to breed rabbits. He says baby bunnies are cute. And some people say, oh, I want my child to experience the miracle of life. Well, do you want to bring them over to some shelter so they can experience the miracle of death when they have to put down all these extra rabbits that don't have homes? So Stevie says don't do it. Now here's Norm and Zoos together as always here. And you're going to see Zoos. Zoos sometimes can look just like Norm. Now look at her ears. Okay, her ears are up. But when she relaxes, there goes that ear down. Now usually she's like this with the one ear partly down. Now, she's not a lop. She doesn't have any lop background in her genetics, but she does have an ear that can either be up or when she's relaxed. When she's relaxed, can you show us the ear going down, Zeus? When she's relaxed, that one right ear will go down. Norm has the normal ears. In fact, that's why they named him Norm at the shelter, because he was the only normal one. Stevie had the crooked face, and Zeus had the one ear that flopped. Now, you'll notice I don't have any lop bunnies here. What you doing, Zeus? You scared? Mrs. Zoozers. I don't have any lop bunnies, and there's a reason for that. It's because the lop bunnies get adopted quickly. People love the lops, and the reason they love them is because they look extra cute. Okay, but once again, lop-eared bunnies come with health problems. Are you scared, Zeus? It's just a camera here. She says, that camera again, Ma. That camera. Oh, there goes the ear. There goes your ear. Now, I have to tell you, I don't know too much about dogs. But I think if you look through all the breeds of dogs and you asked a veterinarian about the different breeds, they could pick out specific health problems for every breed of dog that's deviated pretty far from the normal wolf shape. So you have your toy breeds, they come with their own problems with hips. You have your long-backed breeds like the Corgis and the Dachshunds, like I said, that have lots of back problems. You have dogs with very, very big, heavy, floppy ears that end up with ear problems. Sometimes maybe because the air is not getting into the ear to dry it out. And you could go through probably every breed and find something that is a normal health problem that wouldn't be a problem if the dog wasn't the shape that it was. Now here we're back in here with Eddie Mars. Eddie Mars is a tiny little breed. And the reason I have him is because he wasn't from a shelter. He was a stray rabbit. And a lady had him showing up in her yard all the time. She asked the neighbors. No one claimed to own him. No one was looking for him. Whoop. So I came over to help her catch him. And then I just kept him. Hey, Eddie Mars. I believe he was a dumped Easter bunny because it was just several weeks after Easter. But you'll find that the lops and the tiny breeds are the breeds that usually get adopted the quickest at the shelters. The breeds that are the ordinary, run-of-the-mill rabbit breeds, especially those of you who know that I talk about this a lot, especially the pink-eyed whites, sometimes sit at the shelter and sometimes are put down because no one wants them. So that's why we have so many pink-eyed whites. And here's Miss Lydia eating some fresh hay that I just put in there. And here's Eddie Mars, who has hay, but he wants something. I don't know. It's your turn to come out today, Eddie Mars. You and Miss Lydia. It's your turn to run. Get the run of the kitchen there. What you doing, Eds? So, I guess that's what I'm saying is don't always go for the cutesy, exotic-y looking breeds because there's so many people that adopt those type of bunnies. But instead, take a look at the ones that have been sitting there for a long time. They're kind of just ordinary rabbit shape, medium-sized rabbits or a little bit larger rabbit. And the black rabbits, the white rabbits, the rabbits that are just one color, like brown. Those are the guys that need your help because they sit and they're overlooked. They're overlooked a lot of the time. Okay, now let's take a look at the stray rabbits that have been found just within the last 2 weeks. This is just 2 weeks now in spring and I'm going to show you some of the rabbits that have been found and have come into the local animal control. And like I said, I'm thinking about adopting one of them. She's disappeared right now from the site, and I'm hoping it's just because she went into surgery. I had called a couple times and I expressed my interest in this rabbit, and looking really ragged. And I hope they didn't put her down. That's why I had called. I wanted to make sure that they knew someone was interested, but it's a big place there, and I don't know that my message got written down anywhere or noted. But we're gonna check and then keep watching. She said just keep watching till she goes up into the adoption page. And so I'm hoping they didn't put her down, and I'm hoping they did spay her, and that she will be going into adoption, even though she looks so awful.